The following video is a chalk talk with me and two coaches as we discuss the resurgence of the T formation in modern football. We're going to talk about the strengths of the formation as well as how they would defend against it. What is going on here
Whiteboard
with the
time.
straight T formation here? We got the straight T.
Yep.
What? Why do you think we're seeing why do you think we're seeing? Yeah, for example, we've had Penn State running it now. This is their goal line, and you know what? Let me make this a little bigger. There we go. Okay. Right. Why do you think? Why do you think we're seeing that resurgence? Right. I saw that the XFL team, the XFL UFL, there's a team that ran it, and now we have good old Chip Kelly saying, "Yeah, Ohio State's going to run it." What? Why do you think that is? You're the defensive coordinator. What is it about this formation that?
Man, you're giving. I faced a team. We faced a team my last school I was coaching at. We had a team that was a very elite small school team that ran this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is about this, there's three different things that I really think about when I see this that makes it very successful, right? Number one, the NFL is getting way more athletic, right? Getting speed on the field. The college system's going speed, speed, speed. Well, speed doesn't really help you too much when you got people punching you in the mouth like this set, this formation right here. Number two is that if you really look at it from this perspective, there are four people who can get the football on this play. Okay, you have obviously any of the backs in the backfield, whether they're backs, receiver, who, whatever, right? Skill position players, skill player, fast skill guys, right? In the back end. The big skill guys are blocking, right? Or the quarterback, right? If you really want to break it down and go like turn the dial back even more, you could run, lead triple out of this. You could run so many things. You could run power. You could run counter. You can run QB sweep, and all three of these backs and two guards pull, and you have five lead blockers out to the edge.
Yeah.
That's not fun to face as a defense, knowing that you have so many things you can run out of just this set alone.
Yeah.
And the third part is like how quick, if they go vertical, right? How quick this set hits. You will, especially they're going to go double teams and drive up to the second level. And by the second, your linebackers don't understand what's going on. The ball carrier is usually at their level or already past their level.
Yeah. Like you could running triple option out of this would be really hard because this is where like the flex bones really kind of come out of. You're just moving these guys over to these wing positions. One of the things I also would point out is it's a balanced formation, in terms of how the players are, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you really 4, and then you split this down the middle and there's a half, half, half. As a defense, you have to respect this because of it, right? You can't just you got to play this with a tight formation, right? Because of it all. But your players just can't, because it can go either way. The ball can go either way. So your guys are on the backside of the play. They're going to be a little bit slower because they don't know which direction this ball's going. And the other thing out of it is like, really, you could kind of run like a modified version of power where this player kicks out. This player leads up is like he's, the pulling guard. And then you're just hitting it right here like that.
That's a lot of times what you'd see, especially if like for me, I would play a lot of bear front against this and be like, all right, these, because normally, right, rules wise, especially for a team like this, you're going to probably want to key those guards just because they're probably going to either trap you, pull them out for sweep, for power, maybe for counter, right? And this is like, talk about a chess match. Well, guess what? You want to key our guards off. Well, we'll just run the same thing and just use two lead blockers that are probably quicker to the spot.
Yeah.
And then now what do you do? Because the C gap in this thing is where you get gashed, right? You can line up in that gap, and they will just wash you down, kick you out, and their C gap opens up You can drive a freaking freight train through that thing.
Yeah.
It is a pain.
Tad, go ahead. I know you want to say something.
I'm just gonna say it's just coming full circle, right?
Yeah.
Football is a sport that comes and goes in cycles, and right now everybody's spreading, everybody's opening things up, and this is just a throwback. If you have to prepare for 9 spread teams a year and one team that's running Flexbone, straight T, uh, Wishbone, whatever that might be, that's hard because you have to be very fundamentally sound and disciplined in your assignments to go against these teams, right?
Yes.
So I coached at a team where we ran the triple. We ran it out of a Wishbone. We ran it out of Flex, and that was one of our best plays. Is that power play you just drew up, and then what happens is you fake the toss on the little power play, and that tight end drags right behind the freaking middles and clears because everybody is coming downhill and he's all by himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it just creates a lot of stuff that you're not used to seeing that you have to still respect and be so fundamentally sound.
Well, and one of the things you said, which was really good, was you have to prepare for this as a defense. Imagine, so you think Ohio State's really, under Chip is necessarily going to run this all the time? No, but now you have to spend time in practice on this play. And I don't think people understand at the college level, right? You're limited on your hours that you can spend with the players. So now you've got to spend and take time. And even at the pro level, like the UFL, and I can't wait for an NFL team to run something like this. It puts pressure where you've got to waste time to prepare for this play. You got to spend time. I shouldn't say waste time, but you got to spend time preparing for this. And they've been preparing for it all year long, all fall camp long, and now it's popping up, and now you got to spend a week. And if it's a short week, you don't have a lot of time to stop this play. So, and honestly, if you really look at it, it's like they call it full house in like the Madden game and stuff, but really, you just flex out the receivers, and then you got the quarterback stepping back, and you can still get the same kind of stuff out of this format, out of this, right? You can still run the T like this and just move these two guys out as receivers. Now that puts pressure on you, Coach Brusso, because why? You still got to respect the run game. And now it might be one-on-one with the receiver.
Right? Like, here's the thing. You talk about Flexbone or Wishbone or straight T. Give me a Flexbone team 10 out of 10 times. Besides, I'd rather have a Flexbone team over a Wishbone team or a straight T team every day of the week. Because a Flexbone, it's a little bit easier for the defense to, the spacing makes sense, right? The ability to pick up on the keys, right? Usually most Flexbone teams, whichever back they're motioning or moving out, will be a half step behind the other. So I always look down behind the back set. I'm like, all right, if you're deeper in your set, you're probably going to motion out, and you do. Okay, we can plan for that a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier to line up and just play very vanilla defense against a Flexbone team. And if you can do it well, you're going to be very successful.
Mm-hmm.
We had a Flexbone team in the conference of the last place we had. Granted, they would run the ball a lot. They would get some yards. Okay. But at the end of the day, we would play very simple defense against them, and they would earn it. Very rarely did they just bust one and run. Usually it was because of our fault if something happened. But this or a Wishbone team, dog, there are so many your linebackers. If you're not training your linebackers from day one about this, you're lost. They're lost, and their feet are in cement.
Well, and I'm sure you're going to hate me for this, but here's what also you could do is you can also false key it with a pulling lineman. Let's say that we're going to pull this lineman around like this.
Hence
and
why
instead he's going to crack down, 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 and now we're just going to lead up.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got to, okay, well, yeah, I think that's why you're seeing it. Now, is it sexy? No. Everybody loves sexy when it comes to football, but the play action on this, I'm sure, is just a pain in the butt as well because, yeah.
Well, even better maybe than what you just drew up. You can have that right back go with the puller and still run a counter look with the other two backs the other direction, so you can get deceptive with your backs and your false pull. The thing about this is, and like Coach Brusso pointed out, the Flexbone, those wings are so limited to what they can do, where they can hurt you with them, right?
Yeah.
You put all three of them in the backfield like this, and every one of those three guys can hit any of those gaps and hurt you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think people know this is the formation that put up 73 points. It owns the record for most points in an NFL game. This is the formation. And then people will go, well, that was in the fit. Well, guys, you know, it's kind of like, remember when Urban Meyer was leaving Utah and going to Florida, and everybody's like, this spread won't work here. It won't work here because we just got better athletes. And then, oh yeah, by the way, the offensive guys are just as good athletes. It can work. Right? It can still work. Now, I'm not saying teams are going to run this as much, but I will be curious to see what comes out, what some, because this is where the wing T also came out about, because they just moved the guy into this wing position, and now you've got all that stuff that's happening with it as well. I'm just curious to see what the next thing is with college football. That's why you've had tight ends become sniffers, guys. The ones they're in the backfield, but they're not really in the backfield. They're up near the line. Is it allows offense to have some power run game with a lead blocker, really. But I just thought it was interesting that this has been making kind of a return, a renaissance of this formation, just due to the fact, there's things that you can do. The UFL team ran the ball once and then ran a play action to one of the backs. Didn't get the back, but you could tell that the pass wasn't very good, and the defense was confused a little bit about what was going on with the play. So I'm just curious to see what's next. Are we going to get the single wing in college? The return of the single wing, the spinning single wing. People
as
will be
long as
like,
it's not the gun double wing.
everybody puts it. I mean, it's just very interesting. So
Let's get it right.
I just wanted to ask you a question. You this question, Coach Brislow, because you're the defensive coach. Why? Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to ask Brusso.
Mm-hmm.
Even if this is just a minor package in a team that you're facing, you're preparing for defensively.
Yep.
It steals time, precious time that you have to address it in practice, right?
Now I will say. Yeah, but go ahead and finish what you were saying.
I was done.
Okay, so in years past, I would draw my own scout cards for the scout offense, right? Dude, mind you, you got to prepare for it, but you also got to teach your scout team how to do this.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's true. They gotta, that's the hard part, is you gotta have them, because, and that's what's always hurts with the Flexbone is the quarterbacks in the Flexbone they'll always be a little bit quicker than your quarterback is, because they're used to making the read. And then you're right. You gotta teach them this. You gotta teach them how to line up. They're gonna go back to some of their old stuff that they're used to because of it.
Mm-hmm. Now I will say, the best thing I can do that I've done with triple option teams when I was only a defensive coach is we would run mandatory half line that week. We would rarely ever go team, like full scale team, maybe like once in the week, like as the end, just to make sure everything is like compressed and we understand spacing. But a lot of it, you'd run dive, midline, and triple in half line sets, which is basically, for your people here, the Big Ian could show it, you just draw roughly a line to each side of the center, like the center, and then everything to the left.
Yeah.
And then draw another line. Yeah. You take that in the center and you just go split them on each hash, maybe a stagger every 10 yards apart, so you don't run into each other. Where you run rocket toss one way and rocket toss the other, and they go doink. No. That's you just rep that for like 10, 15 minutes, and you rotate guys in, and you just get them used to it. And they're just like, man, coach, these are just 3 plays. And you put in rocket toss every once in a while to keep them honest. And they're like, crap. And it's like, well,
don't cheat in half line. That always made me laugh. The defensive guys make a play, and they're like, yeah. And you're like, yeah, we don't have a guard right there, buddy. There's no
We always
backside.
did half line. We always did half line with our backside guard over when I was playing. The team I played for in college ran the triple, and we'd always do half line. It was always guard, center, guard, tackle. Sometimes tight end, usually not, because we were mostly Flexbone.
Yeah. I'm already looking at this formation and just in my brain thinking of things to do that would piss you off even more as a DC.
Like, honestly, you could run pretty much any passing concept out of this.
Yes.
You could, like, now if you get time, like, you could imagine running flood out of this. Which way are you going to run flood at? Like, you could run it either way.
Yeah.
Your fullback better be on his horse because he'd probably take the flat route.
Well, you can do like this, lead around, lead out. He's the one getting the ball, or let's just run a screenplay with the backside back who immediately flares out. Yeah. Fake the toss, and throw that out of the backfield.
It's like, how many, and here's the hardest part, at least for me, right? Is I think this is, we talk about time, Rise, right? You have to think, and this is kind of how we kind of held it off a little bit, was how can we prepare these kids, like taking what they run out of their regular sets, right? If a team is going to have this as a wrinkle, right? You got to think they're going to run the same relative run concepts and maybe some quick game concepts in this formation. So it's like, okay, that's kind of how I would prepare it. Yeah. Now, and I'd maybe throw in a reverse or like something just completely from left field. And here's the thing: usually that left field, which usually would be their trick play they put in the game, I'd be guessing pretty well.
Yeah.
But try to find the similarities, no matter what window dressing you offensive guys try to be. Oh, nice and smart. Oh, I'm gonna outsmart you today, right?
That's what we do.
Well, most times you do.
No, it's a good chess match, right?
Yeah.
It's like trying to make it so the kids can understand, okay, you're going to get this kind of run and pass concepts. It's just going to look differently.
Yeah.
It'll look a little bit different, but you're getting the same thing coming at you. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just think the hardest part for any defense is, Coach, I don't know if you can draw on the screen. How would you align to this? So just select you can draw. Select the pen. You should be able to draw.
All right. So for me, depends on now. Are we getting what kind of, are we an option team? Like, this is what I got to ask you. Are you going to get an option team? Are we more of a lead and power team?
I'm thinking, I'd say more of a lead and power team. How would you align to a lead and power team?
So let's see. Ooh, can I make it like bigger? Is there like a marker highlighter?
This right here is the thicker. This is thicker right here.
Yeah, give me that one. Give me that one.
And the pen.
All I see is 2 boxes with your names in them floating around, and my whole screen's white right now with the formation.
All right. So remember, I'm doing with the mouse. So I would go bare front, especially if we're getting a power team.
Okay.
I would go. So basically, for you guys, put your 3. So I'm a 3 down guy, right?
Yeah.
So I would put this right here. Now, but what we also do, okay, is, for example, so I would put, so we nail our overhangs, our spur, right, to the strength. I'm going to assume quarterback's right-handed.
Yeah, let's just go with that, right-handed.
All right, so the strength will be to the quarterback's right. Okay. All right, so our spur and whip are our overhang players, right? So this is what I would do. Okay, I would also walk up our Sam and our Will right here. I would drop down my Mike, right? And I'd bring my free down as well. Okay, and I'd have our corners playing outside leverage, probably like more outside than this, at like 4 to 5 yards at the most. Okay. And what I would basically, like, you're loading the box and you have basically my thought is you have a player for every gap of the defense offense on the front on the line of scrimmage, and you have your free safety and your Mike can kind of be chasers if you want.
Yeah.
Right. That's pretty much how I would do it. I would try to keep it within this.
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it gets out here, or if it gets out here,
you're in trouble.
You have more blockers than defenders, you're screwed.
And you're trying to get your corners your corners may have to become the tacklers, which
that's
you usually don't want. Now, I'm going to erase your lines right here. How would you, let's say we got a triple, let's say that we're running option out of it. They run option out of this. What changes for you? Are you going to get out of the bear front? What are you going to do?
Yeah. If it is in that, if we're more of an option team, okay. Honestly, probably the only adjustment that I'll really make out of this then is I will just put them in tight front. So basically right here.
Okay.
And be right here. Right? Because if you're getting a true triple, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the first guy, the end man on the line of scrimmage will be the read. Because you're gonna get really two main triple option-esque things. If it is true original triple option, this will be your read guy, right? The end man on the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
If it is midline, this guy is going to be your read guy.
Yep.
So my thought is, here's my deal on this. If they're running triple, he's going to try to block down, right?
Yep.
If you run mid, you're going to arc around, probably take the backer, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So my thought is that to have an aggressive play, this guy is going to almost be in attack mode like this. Almost going to be slanting in, trying to just whiz right past the right guard. And honestly, the mesh point's going to probably be about right here, right? If I had to guess. Trying to blow this thing up so it bubbles. Therefore, we can have guys on the backside chase.
Okay.
If it's midline, then you could pretty much almost tackle both.
Which would be awesome. Which would be awesome to have a guy do that multiple times.
Oh yeah, like fullback should be tackled on every play if they're an option team. He should never run scot-free.
Gotcha.
Coach, what would you do if they went extra wide splits, like when they ran that midline to spread that 4-eye out even further, put them out in space?
We would almost probably, honestly, we face a team in our conference now that runs the pistol triple out of either Flexbone or 2x2. And they have 5 to 6 foot splits. I should show you one time. It's insane how wide their splits are. Now, we usually then line up, hypothetically, how do I get rid of a lot of my stuff? Eraser.
Yeah.
So
I'll help you. I'll help you clean up a little bit. The picture won't.
Oh no, you erased his tackles.
Yes, that's what defense. That's what we do in offense. We just erase players. We don't have to worry about blocking that guy. He doesn't even exist.
So then, if there's super wide splits, I'd probably lean towards more being a bear per se, and just having to be on the outside shade of the tap. Almost be like, I don't want to say lining up in the gap per se, but if there's that wide, pretty much make it so like if they're going to down block, this tackle is going to have to really get on his, get on his horse to try to do that.
So kind of like a 3-tech, but then a little bit wider as a 3, just a little like a foot step or 2 over. So he's really kind of in the
first step. Pretty much is not if you go vertical. This is what I teach them against the option, especially these guys. If your first step is vertical, you're wrong.
Okay.
If you go this way, they run midline, you're dead. Yeah. You have to be coming right down the line, pretty much right off the hip of the center, and this has to be your job. You have to make this not a thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And if we can't do that, we won't win.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure, but it has to be done.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting. This is great to talk about and just to see how you would defend it. Again, it's like one of those things. If you notice, your defense has to be just as balanced against this offense in terms of where your personnel are. because we have the numbers. It's pretty much even with this group. Oh, I picked the highlighter. That's okay. This group, and then you got this guy, your nose, who's basically splitting right down the middle. So it's kind of the same thing, matching with the
nose
offense.
has one job. He better make the center snap the ball into his nuts about 3 to 4 times against an option team. Like he has to make the center uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just wanted to talk about this because it was so interesting to see so many. The UFL team running it kind of was like, oh, that's right. Chip Kelly said we're going to run it here at Ohio State now this coming season. So you're starting to see it become more and more like a modern resurgence of football from the 1930s on, and it's obviously in response to the defensive guys running. The faster guys. Let's go beat up. See if we can make them have to play against the bigger guys. I would be curious to see a team running 2 wide receivers with this, what it does to a team as well. Because even though you could, we've seen it with kind of the pistol, the 3-back the pistol. I think just because under center, it makes it totally different as well for defensive guys. Because with pistol, there's still some you can kind of treat it like a shotgun. This under center, they're going to be tighter. It's going to be a lot faster hitting. It's going to put a lot of pressure on you, especially if they put 2 receivers out and then run the T formation as well.
Right. And if this is on the goal line, like I'm literally I'll probably do this. I'll probably shade the nose over like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'll probably just spin the mic down right here.
Gotcha.
Like if it's goal line, then the safety, the free and a 3 down front in a because I mean I've coached the stack for years. This guy has to be arguably probably your most versatile playmaker.
Mm-hmm.
He has to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's 3 dudes really on this in this defensive set that have to be it there. The nose is 1, the mic is 2, the free is 3. Like these are your 3 playmakers that have to be. You have to have
run wall.
Yeah.
If you don't, then you're probably not doing it very well.
So you're just trying to build a wall, make everything just take up a gap and prevent it from being able to hit quickly.
Yes, because the quick hitting stuff is always the most dangerous stuff against a team like this, in my opinion. If you have the athletes to string it out, you can do that, right? But if you get if they're running dive or midline at you and you don't even realize it's happening, well, the free safety I like my free safety making tackles. I don't like them making like 15 to 20 tackles. Okay.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting to discuss this just to see how defensive guys, how some of the defense might adjust. I'm wondering how much you're going to get of goal line fronts by defensive coaches as well to try and take this on. They're just going to bring in the beef, but then that also puts you in a problem because if you bring in the beef, there's 3 running backs and tight ends are not. You run the risk. This is almost like a unfair goal line formation because of the balance to it. I can see why teams are going to it.
Well, and you can I think it makes what the defense can do so predictable in a lot of ways. Like you mentioned, if you widened out the tight ends to wide receivers, right, and ran this, I guarantee you're getting 0. I guarantee you're going to get 0 from most coaches in coverage. You're going to man up those 2 outside guys. You're going to man up backs out. As far as coverage goes, right? So if you do want to add a passing aspect into this, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, but that's what I see people would be doing if you took those guys and widened them.
Yes,
So you could predicate what's going to happen, what you're going to do.
Now, I will say, if I'm a little bit different, I would then, if you do spread these guys out, I would take our corners and just go with them, and then I'd drop my safety. I'd probably bring my safety back, play him like 6 or 7 yards, 8 yards maybe at the max.
Mm-hmm.
It might be like 4.5 to 5, just because then the safety probably still is played like I'll still play 3 out of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the safety's not playing a very deep third, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
you would umbrella. You would run like an umbrella type look. So
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty
that's
much.
what we always call it. We've done that. We've done the other ways. We have a team in our league that runs a gun double wing, but their one wing's usually in a sniffer position instead of a wing, and that's kind of we line up very similar to this in this bear type front against them.
Mhm.
Attack the D tackles attacking that guard's outside shoulder, right? Trying to blow up pools, nose just getting penetration.
Yep.
Except for we put our corners back now. We didn't used to, almost in like safety type positions, and we bring our safeties down and leverage with our safeties. Because generally our safeties are better tacklers.
Yep.
All right.
And corners don't want any of that business.
What, you want to take on a fullback leading through the hole?
Or a pulling guard or
Guard.
tight end
Yeah.
or a tackle.
Yeah, that's always the hard part about this. I just look at this and I'm just thinking, I'm already starting to think of all these different things. I do wonder for a team putting a package together like this with their stuff in fall camp, what's going to happen to them. I think it'll be very interesting because Chip Kelly will probably be the guy that'll let's just run it like 20 times in a game. Why not? I can see him doing that.
I can see Sharon Moore running it 30 times in a game against Penn State.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to all of our booster members that are supporting the channel. If you wish to have your name in a video just like this, please make sure to join at the link down below at the booster member or above. On the next screen, there will be another recommended video. It'll be a breakdown video, most likely. Check it out. See what you think of it. Some of them might be commentary, but most of my videos are breakdowns. We'll see you later, though, and have a good one.